Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. So have you ever done an Nmap scan where you're scanning a ton of hosts and you come back and you've just got all of this output that you're trying to sort through, it's super messy, it's not very clean, and you just wish you had a good visual way to try to make sense of what you're looking at? I found this tool called Webmap. I'm sure there are others like it. If you guys know of any, please share with me because this tool, I mean, it hasn't been updated in 2 or 3 years, but it's still super awesome for visualizing your in-map scans and even automating some report writing. So if you haven't seen it before, then sit tight. I'm going to show you how I use this tool periodically and hopefully you learn something. All right, let's dive in. Okay, so to even begin, obviously we're going to need some in-map output here, and I'm just going to start by scanning Tesla and know that they've got an open vulnerability disclosure program, a bug bounty program, so we should be able to scan them with like this permission already granted because they participate in these programs. So you don't want to do this against any target you don't have permission to. That should definitely go without saying. Everything we do here on this channel is for ethical uses only, trying to help companies secure their assets and not trying to attack and hurt anybody. So here we go, we're doing a quick Nmap scan. So what did we do here with this scan? Well, first of all, I gave it a list of domains that we wanted to go ahead and try to do a quick scan on. And I used a tool called AMAS to actually pull this off. It's an awesome tool. If you haven't seen it before, definitely go check it out. I might even make a video one day on it, but I'm sure there are tons of awesome videos about how to use this tool already on YouTube. But basically, I just did some basic subdomain enumeration for Tesla.com, and I copied these out. And by the way, I'm using a DigitalOcean droplet to host this in the cloud. Hey, look, we just got more subdomains. To host this in the cloud, and I'm able to let this run without going off my local laptop. And if you're interested in doing something similar, check out the link in the description. I have a $100 referral code I can give you where you'll get $100 of free credit on DigitalOcean if you want to use that link. But basically, I took these domains, and if we go back to our nmap command, which I'm not in a tmux session, so I can just scroll right up, we can see that I went ahead and just said, okay, go ahead and take the top 20 ports and scan them against that list of subdomains that we were just looking at. And we're going to output this into a name called Tesla Top 20. And if I were to run another scan after this, maybe I drop this top ports and I let it do just the top 1,000 ports, or maybe I do -p-, make it do all ports, and then I would just rename this output file kind of according to what it is I'm looking to do. But I wanted to go ahead and just bring that up real quick as we still wait for the scan to finish, and I will pause here and see it in just a sec. Okay, great. So we can see that the scan has now finished. And when we list out the contents, we can see that we've got host.txt, which is obviously the list of domains that we scanned, and then we've got a gnmap file, an nmap, and an xml file. Nmap file is the one that you're probably used to seeing. Gnmap is just a greppable format of that, and then XML is actually what we're going to use for the Webmap application. So now that we've got our data, let's go and set Webmap up. So if we go out to GitHub again, it looks like the way we set this up, if we go down, you can see that you should use this with Docker. Docker makes it super, super easy. First, we got to make sure we even have Docker installed. So I'm just going to come back to my box here, and we're just going to say Docker run and just see, okay, it doesn't look like it's installed. So I'm going to rerun this, but with sudo. Maybe I'm not. We'll try it without and see if it's going to have the permissions to install it or not. We'll say yes. And we'll let that go. Okay, so Docker has now finished installing. Let's see if we've got everything we need. Let's try doing Docker run again. Cool, and it looks like it says it needs at least one argument, so it looks like it might be installed. So then let's just kind of follow the steps here that they have outlined. So we're going to first make a directory here called temp webmap, and then we're going to run all of this. And of course, it's going to say, hey, permission denied. By the way, we never even downloaded Webmap, but you may not need to. Let's see if we can go ahead and run this again elevated. and it's unable to find that, so it's going to go ahead and download it for us. So you don't even need to do like a git clone from that GitHub page. Simply just running this is going to pull down the latest version using Docker, and it's going to start it for us. So this is awesome. We'll give this a second to finish. Okay, so Docker has now installed this for us, basically all set up. So then we should be able to actually just go ahead and jump straight to here, where you open up a browser and you go check out localhost on port 8000. Now, one thing I want to mention, this is not using HTTPS, so I would not recommend like hosting this up on a DigitalOcean box or something and then accessing it and storing sensitive information there, because that's not going to be an encrypted connection. So if you were to fall victim to like a man-in-the-middle attack, or any of that activity could potentially be seen by things like your internet service provider if they're monitoring your traffic or something like that. So just keep that in mind. I would not use this outside of the internet. In my case, I'm just using it here, localhost on my LAN, so there's nothing really going over the internet. I guess there's less risk in this case. So I'm going to go ahead and run this command here, and that's going to generate a token that we can use to actually sign in to this. And we might need to do this elevated. There we go. So we got a token. Copy that. If we come back to our browser, paste that in. Hey, check it out. Okay, so we are now logged in to the Webmap interface. This is awesome. So what do we do from here? Well, we have our Nmap output. Let's go ahead and, yeah, check it out. It says, do not expose this to the internet. So yeah, I'm not the only one who kind of feels that way. Even the developers are saying, hey, it's probably not a great idea to put this out on the internet. But anyway, let's go ahead and see if we can import some Nmap data. So I'm going to say show all Nmap scans, and it doesn't have anything. Let's see. We could also run a scan here directly out of the Webmap application. You would just give it, okay, what's the output of your scan that you'd like it to be named? You give it the target and then any parameters that you want. And this can even set it up as like a cron job and run on a schedule for you, in an automated fashion. I've never used this feature, but it sounds kind of cool. So yeah, could be a use case potentially if you wanted to set this up to just go ahead and scan maybe like your internal network periodically to monitor for new devices or something like that. Okay, so if we weren't going to use that to get this data to show up in here, how do we take an output file that we already have, like in our Tesla case, and how do we get that imported into this Webmap application? Well, if we go and look back at the command that we ran, when we set up Docker, we first made this temp Webmap directory, and then we actually said, hey, take a look at temp Webmap. And so if we were to store any of the XML files, any of the output of our Nmap into this temp Webmap directory, it should automatically show up in this interface for us. So let's go test that out. If I come into this now, again, we'll list out our contents. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this file. So I'm going to copy that one, and I'm going to throw it into that temp Webmap directory. And now if we were to list out the contents of temp Webmap, we actually see we've got Tesla in here. So then, if we refresh the page, hey, check that out. We now have Tesla top20.xml, and it shows us, all right, out of one XML file, we've got 19 open ports, 20 closed, and 181 that came back as filtered. If we open this guy up, we get a nice, cool little graph. This is what I really like about this tool, is if you need to go and make like some executive report, or you wanted to just add a little bit more flair to your, pen test reports, you can just do something as simple as this, where you can automatically create these charts. You don't have to worry about putting data into Excel. And you can just copy, screenshot this, throw it into your report. It just gives it a little bit more flavor. And that's sometimes needed when you're trying to stand out from the rest of the crowd. So that's one use case here. But as we go through, this is really helpful because now it can show you, okay, we scanned this IP address. Here is a host that actually came back. And what services here responded with something. And we could see we've got all these different services that responded with some sort of answer. Now, this could be based on how I ran my scan, where you see basically all of these ports have something here. But like if you click into this, we can see one port was open, 19 showed as filtered. And I think that's because I used my -- top ports 20 flag. where it went ahead and scanned all 20 ports and it either said it was open or filtered. I'm not sure exactly what it would show if you had, like, just scan the regular top 1,000 ports. I'm not sure if it would report everything as filtered or not. Definitely worth testing and seeing what you see. But when you come in here, you can see, okay, all this is filtered, but look at this, TCP port 80 is open, and it wasn't able to pull down any version details, but if Nmap had collected that information, it would show up right here. So then you can come in and you can say, okay, show me the details, and it's like, oh, nice. So there's a 300 a 300 response that told it to redirect. It did not follow the redirect, and you can get some more detail about specifically what Nmap was able to uncover. But then once you say, okay, well, I want to go ahead and copy this as a curl command, and now you can go and you can rerun this here in curl, exactly how Nmap had, and now you're making that request and you can see the response yourself. So super cool stuff. You can even copy it straight as Nikto if you wanted to do some more enumeration on that target. I don't know why it says copy as telnet. That seems interesting to me. I guess that would potentially make sense if you're trying to connect to a port and you just want to see what the response is. Maybe you're trying to do like a banner grab or something. But that's kind of an interesting option there. But anyway, on this host, we can see port 80 was the only one that's open. So we'll back out, go back, and then what we can actually do is you can mark this with a particular label. So if I said, okay, I checked it, now I can move on, I know I've already looked at that host, or perhaps you found like 3389 exposed on the internet and you were able to password spray your way in, hey, we actually have an issue here, and you can flag it. Or you could even say that it's a critical issue. Whatever the case is, these flags are really cool in my opinion. You can also just say checked, come in, insert a note, and just say, didn't find anything. Right? That way you've got that added, you save that, you reload your page. And the cool thing about these notes is you can just come in here and you can read them by clicking that contains notes, but you can also go in and do this PDF report. Now, I've tried using this PDF report numerous times and sometimes it doesn't work. So hopefully we'll have better luck here, but it's going to try to generate a PDF report for us. And if it's successful, then it's actually a really cool PDF. We'll see. Looks like it says it's ready. Nice. Okay. So we can see exactly what the command was that I ran, the date and time that I ran it. You could get, kind of like an executive summary here. And then it goes through and talks about each host. And so here's that first host. It says that it's checked. And my note should be in here somewhere. Maybe it's at the bottom. We've got some NSE scripts that ran as part of our scan. You can see the various methods that were used. And then we have the notes here that I added where I said I didn't find anything. So you could really go into super great depth and add a ton of notes here if you wanted to for whatever reason. And then it moves on to the next host. And you can see, okay, we got 2 open ports. That's port 80. We pulled out a little bit of information here in the header. And we also have port 443. And you just keep moving on through the list, right? And so, I don't know. This is kind of the core functionality of the tool that I thought was cool. And I wanted to share it with you guys. Let me know what you think. If you guys know of a better tool or another tool that might be, more up to date or maintained, I would love to see what you guys know about and what you're using. So leave a comment and let me know. But otherwise, I hope you found this useful, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Thanks.